All right, guys. Good evening, everybody. Make sure this is on and working. I should be good to go here. Give me a thumbs up in chat if you guys can hear me okay. And we'll go ahead and get started. What's up? Sharon, Matthew, Will, Cindy, J Man, iFunny, Lauren, Tina, Tyler, Kelly, Tony. What is up, guys? All right, cool. All right, good to go. What's up, Julie, Jade, Mary, Roberta? Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. So first and foremost, if you watched the stream earlier today, not much has changed, so you're not going to learn too much of anything new with this potential risk for tomorrow. But we do have a few updated models, and we also have the update SPC guidance and stuff like that to go over here. So let's go ahead and jump in. So if you're not familiar, we do have a level 2 risk here in place tomorrow, which is known as what we call a slight risk. All right, that's level 2 out of a scale of 5. So it's not too high of a risk, but still a risk nonetheless. Highest risk here is going to be centered from I-96 areas south of that. So Lansing over toward Ann Arbor, south of Detroit there, Monroe, Adrian, Jackson, Hillsdale, Kalamazoo, Coldwater, Hills, or Three Rivers, Battle Creek, those general areas. All right. But we do have a lower risk that extends all the way up to Manistee, toward Clare, Mount Pleasant areas, Saginaw, back through Port Huron. You guys have a level 1 risk. So it's still a risk, but not as high of a risk. All right. What are the hazards? And in order here, number 1 concern is going to be large hail. Large hail that could be greater than quarter size. So usually the large hail spectrum here starts at quarter, which is about 1 inch in diameter. We're looking at potential golf ball size hail tomorrow, especially down by the border of Ohio. Okay, guys? Hold on here. Get this blown up for you guys. There we go. So that's going to be the biggest concern tomorrow. Potential hail larger than quarter size. We can see the area down here toward the border of Indiana and Ohio in a black, what we call hatched area. That indicates your potential for hail that could be significant in nature. Okay. Now, if we look for the second hazard here, damaging winds is your second concern. That's going to encompass the exact same areas of your hail and also your overall risk in general. Highest off to the south along the 94 corridor. A low risk extends further north up to Manistee, Mount Pleasant, and Port Huron as well. Second or third threat here, a couple of tornadoes are going to be possible, particularly, again, in the southern portions, but there is a risk that does extend further north again to those same areas, Manistee, Mount Pleasant, Port Huron, that general area is your cutoff point. And it is definitely highest off to the south there, across portions of southern Michigan, in particular, Lansing, Kalamazoo, Coldwater, Adrian, Ann Arbor. You guys would be the biggest cities in this risk, but anywhere in between those cities, still at a risk here for a couple tornadoes being possible. All right. So what is the time frame on this? What is our thinking? General thinking here is going to still be between 2 p.m. in the west side of the state and then 10 p.m. in the east side of the state. I have an overlay here. There you go. Made this afternoon. It still applies here. That's your time frame. This is not a risk map. This is communicating the overall arrival of thunderstorms. 2 to 4 p.m. on the west side, central part of Michigan, 3 to 5 p.m., and then on the east side of the state, 5 to 9. That is your general approximate time frames. It may not be exact to the hour. It could be a little bit outside that range. It's approximate. Okay, things can change, stuff can happen. Just take note of that. That's just your approximate time frame. All right, taking that down here, going over the model, looking at the updated models here. We don't really have too much more to communicate here, but we did see an increase in overall instability that is expected for tomorrow afternoon here. Let's go ahead and run this through again. So first and foremost, the biggest concern tomorrow is going to be for the amount of instability that's going to be present. And that is because we are expecting a line of showers and storms to move through here in the morning hours. Looking at what's happening right now out to the west, we got this line of storms that has developed in Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska. It's going to push our way. Okay. Watch this. It's going to move into the area here. Here's 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. We have that line approaching us from the west. It's going to continue to march eastward here. It should be weak. Not expecting severe weather with this first initial line, but it throws a caveat into things. Okay. That could cause cloud cover. It could cause an overturn of the atmosphere and limit instability, or it may cap the atmosphere. All three things could be possible tomorrow. The most likely thing that may happen would be cloud cover, which would limit the overall threat. But these models are not really showing that. Okay. We're going to move this through. It's going to impact us here in Michigan. This is 1 p.m. tomorrow, so just after the noon time frame. But notice in the western part of the area here in Illinois, we're going to have pop-ups start to go up here as early as 1 to 2 p.m. That's going to be the main concern. We're not worried about this initial band here. We're worried about what's behind that. And that is if we can get enough instability to work back up and in, which is expected. It may not happen, but it's expected. All right. That is going to pop off more showers and storms that could be severe. Here is 4 right here, 4 p.m. and here's 5 p.m. All right. Those could be severe. Okay. Those are going to march through the state here. Here's 6, here's 7, here's 8, and here's 9, and then here is 10 p.m. All right, so between that 2 p.m. time frame, as early as 2 p.m., could be 3 or 4, but as late as 10 p.m. on the east side of the state. That's where that graphic comes into play there. We're really trying to get the 2 to 9, 10 p.m.-ish frame in spectrum here, but depending on where you're at in Michigan, it's going to change your timing, so to speak. But it could be as early as 2 to begin with in West Michigan, could be as late as 4, so on and so forth. All right. With that being said, overall, our thinking here is in line with the SPC. We do think hail is the biggest risk tomorrow. Wind is secondary. A couple tornadoes being possible, but again, I would say this is a conditional threat on if we can get the instability to work back in behind that first initial line of storms. And it is expected to, if we compare the instability here, on this model, running this through the afternoon here on Tuesday, we see the blues and greens there, what we really want to see. Purples is kind of weaker in nature. When we get to the blues and greens, it kind of increases our, the number here, which should increase our threat. And that continues to spread all the way up toward Grand Rapids, Ludington, all the way down to the east side of the state here. I know it doesn't show the east side in instability, but it's likely this is a what we call like a bad model run here. Likely going to see East Michigan get in on the instability action here as well. We can actually look at a model here called the RAP. It's not one we use too often, but it would show us, I would think here. I haven't looked at this for sure, but I think it's going to show us a different picture and exactly what I'm thinking here. You see how the east side of Michigan is in the instability gradient here as well. So it's a northwest to southeast gradient there of the cutoff point. So that's why the SPC risk is that northwest to southeast cutoff. So that's in line with what the models are thinking here. So overall, we think that it's a decent threat that could develop, but it's going to really depend on what happens with that first initial line and what's behind it, because that's going to play a huge role in terms of the overall forecast. Okay. One more model I'm going to show you guys is the NAM3. Again, we like to prefer to stay away from the NAM3. We just kind of use it for general guidance here, but we can go ahead and show you guys this for a different solution. Moving this through the time frame here, that line of storms still being shown here on this model reaches us by about that 1 p.m. time frame. Then we have development out there in Illinois at 1 p.m. as well. It's going to march eastward across into the region, and there is our potential severe risk developing here at 4 to 5 p.m. And this looks like a pretty nasty line taking shape here on the NAM3 model. That's going to push eastward across the area here. It keeps the threat tied more so down to the 94 corridor, but north, we could still see a severe threat develop because we could have some upper level instability up there, which could support a hail threat. But overall thinking is we're going to have enough instability to, encompass the entire risk area, which is right here. All right. I think I covered everything with that. So if you guys got questions, feel free to drop those in chat. But otherwise, that is all I have to share with you guys as of right now. Victoria, that is the plan. We do plan to go live tomorrow. And that's only really if we're needed. We could see that risk shift south because, a lot of things can happen. We could have that risk not materialize at all, weak instability. We could have a risk shift to the south. Like, there's a lot of things that can happen. But if we're needed, we'll be here. See a couple comments here asking if their city is going to get hit bad. We really can't tell you guys like 24 hours in advance if your city's going to get hit. All I can really tell you guys is yes, you're in a risk and you should take it seriously. All hazards are possible tomorrow. It's just we don't really have the confidence, to say that we're gonna have like a bow echo going through the entire state. Nothing like that. We don't have enough confidence here to say anything like that. Could the Sig hail threat move up? Possibly, Tyler. Possibly. Right now, not seeing too much of a concern for this expanding at all. I don't think it'll be upgraded either. Just an educated guess, unless we have more confidence that we're going to have more in the way of instability. Possibly. But right now, I think the risk here is pretty well in line. Possibly, Mike. Possibly up there. I think the risk is definitely higher off to your south, but it's possible we could see that extend further north. So be on your toes for sure. Don't think so, Cecil. I don't think we're going to have any type of strong tornadoes tomorrow here in Michigan. We have to have a lot of dominoes fall in the right direction for that to happen. Don't see that being the case. You should be fine, Tina. As long as you go in the morning, you should be just fine. No severe for the morning round there is expected. Should be just a mainly afternoon threat. Possibly, Jay, if we have instability that's weaker, that's a possibility. Caden, message the page and I'll send it to you, okay? I can't give you a link in chat, unfortunately. But if you message the page, I can give that to you. I think the southwest part of the state has the best threat, Shane. Again, the threat is there for what you see on your screen. I do think it is a little bit higher, though, in the southwest part toward Kalamazoo, Benton Harbor, Three Rivers, those general areas. Kenny, I think it's going to stay the same. Maybe change positioning, although I think the placement of its or the 10% is pretty good to the south there. Yes, that is correct. Morning sun would be worse here. That would heat the surface here and get our surface instability up and going. So that'd be a bad situation there if we had sun tomorrow. Tim, this should be an afternoon threat, so you'll be fine tomorrow evening. I think that if you do happen to have a severe, not severe, but a tornado warning tomorrow, and you have the opportunity to leave your trailer, then yes. If you know where to go, like find a sturdy structure, drop away from the storm. Usually that means east and or south, depending on storm motion, which tomorrow is pretty much due east. So it should be just drive east away from the storm, then figure out your bearings, and then go south from there. All right. Any more questions, guys? It's possible, although Detroit's pretty close to the slight risk already. So I would say be on your toes. You're pretty close as is. It's possible, Rebecca. I think the risk is highest off to the south of Grand Rapids, but there is a risk there from the SPC. So take it seriously. No problem, Scott. Appreciate your donation. First line is not going to be severe. At least I say not expected to be severe. But that could inhibit later on severe threat. So we'll watch that closely. But no severe with that first round is expected. That would be the worst case scenario, Matthew. That would mean we have a higher instability total to work with. So if we don't get morning rain, it might be a pretty good day for severe weather here in Michigan. I don't think it's going to go enhanced, guys. I really don't. We have to have a lot of dominoes fall in place for that to happen. 2 p.m. earliest up to right around 9 to 10 p.m. Here's your time frame map, guys, again, for those of you just joining. Calhoun County, Hillsdale County, you guys are in the highest threat tomorrow. It's level 2 out of 5. So it's not too terribly high, but still a risk nonetheless. And you would be in the best area for a tornado or two, large hail, and also damaging winds. So we'll see if it develops. We do have that caveat there. We're looking at morning rain, shower storms could potentially throw a wrench into the forecast. So we'll have to watch that first before we get a good feel. This is a possibility. It is a risk. It is not a guaranteed threat that's going to materialize, but looking likely on models that will materialize. Yeah, Ryan, I noticed that the instability is highest off in the south and west. So possibly, Mike, possibly could see a shell from that morning line. I think it'd be pretty much decayed though, so I think the odds of that not happening are higher than it actually is happening, but it's definitely a possibility. Yes, Flint is in the lowest risk on this map right here. I think we'll clear out briefly, April. We'll probably have some clouds lingering, but we should clear out enough to destabilize, just enough to get storms going. How much we destabilize is a big question. Like, how much is there going to be? I think we'll have a little bit at least, but if we get, upwards of 1,000, 1,500 joules of surface cape, then we kind of raise our eyebrows and go, huh, okay. Middleville would be, I think, in yellow, but you're pretty close to that line either way, so it's a risk nonetheless, so treat it as such. Those storms out in Oklahoma are wild right now. Yes, they are. I'm watching one on radar here. I've been watching it all day. Crazy. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off here. Expect another live stream tomorrow morning to our update. Overall, watch the updated forecast guidance from the SPC. We'll have it on our page tomorrow morning. This threat may go up or it may go down. We'll have to kind of wait and see how that round of showers and storms develops. That could cloud us over, prevent instability. A lot of things could happen tomorrow. Not a guaranteed threat, but if it does materialize and everything falls in place, we could see a severe weather episode here across southern Michigan and central Michigan as well for tomorrow. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to hop off here and get some sleep and more than likely gear up for a potentially active day tomorrow. So thanks, guys, for watching. I'm going to hop off here, and you guys have a good rest of your night.